everyone. This is Jazz of the Soul Leadership Method and the Living Goddesses, or Society of Living Goddesses. Listen, there's quite a few of you who have reached out to me recently, and a lot of my networking groups also. I've heard that it feels like a lot of you, you're stuck in the dark, that it feels like, something terrible has happened, some life event has happened, and you're wishing to reaching out and saying, Jazz, just let me see the light. Let me see the light. What is it that I can do? Just heal me. Just do something. Just heal me. And I love you. And that is not the way out, to just snap you out of the darkness and let you see the light. That is not the way out. Fortunately, we wish it was, but that's not how we learn. And that's not how we grow as human beings. So as I was sending out Reiki to the community, and especially to those of them who feel they're in the dark, and I was meditating on how can I help you, how can I reach you, how can I support you as you go through a period of darkness. I was wondering, what can I share with you? And this is a story that came to my mind as I was trying to sleep last night. So I'll share it with you. Not scripted. So hopefully it will come across well for you. So I invite you to just, sit down, get comfortable, take a nice deep breath all the way down to your belly. And I'll tell you the story of this little fairy. This little fairy was very curious, and she was with her friends. They were in the forest. They were playing along. There's all kinds of beautiful lights, and there were the northern lights, and there were lights in the trees, and there were fireflies, and they were having a party, and life was a beach. And she was curious, and she wanted to explore a little bit more of life. She wanted to learn her own path through life, because she was looking at other people, other fairies that were a little bit wiser, a little bit older than her, and she was wondering, how can I get that wisdom? How can I get that poise like they have? And she saw a path, and she started exploring that path. And she found herself going into a mysterious cavern, a mysterious cave, and it was lit up with beautiful sparkle lights and fairy lights and beautiful creatures that would light the way. And she explored, and she was in awe, and she knew that she had something to learn from this space. All of a sudden, though, it feels like the lights went out. It was completely dark. It was so dark. It was a darkness like she had never experienced before. She called out and said, hello? But the only thing that she heard back was the echo of her own voice. She felt utterly alone in the darkness. She felt like she was the only one, the first one who ever was in this cave, who ever was in the darkness. She didn't have any reference. She didn't have anybody to call out. She didn't have any guides. Nobody had told her before that one day you might find yourself in a dark cave and this is what you do. She had no points of reference at all. Everything was dark. So what did this little fairy want to do? Well, she just started going around the cave, and she took her little wings, and she would just start flapping very nervously, and then she kept hitting one wall, hitting another wall, hitting the ceiling, hitting the floor. She didn't know what was up, what was down, what was left, what was right. She was completely disoriented in this light, in this cave, in this darkness. So then what did she do? She sat down. She finally found the floor, and she just sat down, and she became calm, and she just took a nice deep breath, and she says, I know that I can get myself out of this cave. I came in, there was a way in, there is going to be a way out. And as soon as she calmed herself, as soon as she sat down, her eyes adjusted to the obscurity, and she was starting to be able to see where the walls were. She was able to feel where a wall was and just follow the wall. And then she also let her nose tell her, and her other senses tell her when she was close to the opening of the cave, because The feeling of the forest was different. The humidity on her skin, the coolness or freshness on her skin was different as she was coming back out into the light. The smell of the forest was different. And then she learned that all along she had the courage and she had the ability to see through the darkness and make her way back out to the light. But the way to this, coming back into the light, was not by being nervous, was not by working so hard and trying to find the way out and to understand why is it that I'm in darkness? Where did the people go? Where did the other fairies go? Why did the light come out? Why am I here? That's not the way out. The way out was to make peace, to be quiet, and to allow yourself to adjust to the situation and then to use her senses to find her way out. Hope that makes sense to you. This is how it translates into real life. First of all, just a brief experience. Have you ever sat at night in the living room? I do that every night because I'm a night owl. And then you shut off the light. So when I flip the switch at night, it's around midnight and everything is just super dark in the living room. So of course you could get up right away and make your way to the bedroom. It's your house, you know the way, you know the path to your bedroom. Oftentimes, if you're like me, you might stub your toes on furniture, that hurts. Or sometimes I miss a step or bump into a wall. So you can just shut the light and then leave. But everything is so dark, you're a little bit disoriented, right? But if I just flip the switch and just sit in the darkness for a while, take a few deep breaths, then my eyes adjust and I can see very clearly where the pets are, where the stairs are, and make my way to the bedroom, right? So sometimes just taking some time in the darkness helps you adjust to that. Now, what does that relate to any life events? So when you're into those periods of darkness, and in life, those periods of darkness are often when you have a bit of tragedy that happens. For me, for sure, miscarriage was a big time of darkness. The grief after the miscarriage and fertility issues, that was a big time of darkness. When I left the federal government, that period of intense depression, anxiety, the panic attacks, that was a time of darkness. Sometimes in my business too, like this past year and a half, where I was not able to see clients, where I just didn't know, is my business going to survive? Is it not going to survive? Like that's a period of darkness as well. And for many of you, you've lived through those periods of darkness and more than once, right? So what happens when that happens to you? So what do you do to get out of it? I've learned from my experience that if I question, like, why is this happening to me? Where are the people? What's happening? I would just want to understand. And you just ask the why? I find what that happens is that you're not getting out of the darkness. You're just bumping against the walls. You're bumping against the ceiling. And for myself, I often feel like I'm just tumbling and I don't know what's up, what's down, what's in front, what's behind. It's very confusing. Every time you ask all of those, why is this happening to me? It's very confusing. And the other thing is, when you always ask, why is this happening to me? You're putting yourself in the position of a victim. Life is happening to you. You're not participating in life. You're not using your skills to participate in life, but you just feel that the world or life is working against you. That makes sense? So that's that story of a fairy, like when she's bumping in the walls all the time. So the best tip is for you to stop asking the whys. I know the brain, and you're all smart, and your brain wants to figure things out. But trying to figure it out is not the way out of the darkness. For some people, it might give a little bit of hope. Like if we go into the Akashic records and say, oh yes, you've had this 3 lifetimes ago, you've had that 2 lifetimes ago, and it helps to give clues or cues as to why things are happening. But oftentimes, even when you know that 3 lifetimes ago you were in a lover's quarrel and this happened, or you were hung, or all of these things happen in a past life, it might give you a glimpse, but it still doesn't feel better in the present life, right? Because that shitty thing is still happening to you now. You're still feeling all the feelings right now, right? So having knowledge does not really help you heal. What helps you heal is to sit in that darkness for a while. It's uncomfortable. It sucks. It really does suck to sit with those feelings, to sit with the anger, to sit with the anxiety, to sit with the panic. You just want it to go away. And I'm here telling you, as a spiritual teacher, it's not about bypassing it. It's not about just pushing those feelings away, but it's about sitting with them. And then you'll see your way out. Because until you acknowledge all of these things, until you acknowledge how much you hurt, until you acknowledge that there's something for you to learn here in terms of your strength, your resilience, your passion, your soul purpose, as much as it sucks, it can also be a gift. And saying that it's a gift is not in any way minimizing the pain, because I know the pain can be excruciating. I know. I've been there, so I'm not minimizing any of the pain. And at the same time, you need to acknowledge it. And it's through the pain, it's going through it, that you find your way out and back into the light. It's not by bypassing it. It's not by pretending it doesn't happen. It's not love and light all the time and spiritually bypassing everything. Life can be cruel at times. I've had so many clients who have survived all kinds of things, from all kinds of abuse, all kinds of grief, all kinds of aggressions against their person. And it's by working through these things, by really connecting with their spirit, by sitting with that it is transmuted into light. The way to light is through the pain, not bypassing it. And my role with you is to sit there with you in the pain. So I'm not the kind of person, and sometimes I wish I was, I should myself that, I should be. Sometimes I don't feel compassionate, or I don't feel, because I don't do like, oh, poor little you. Oh yeah, that really sucks. And just, call you and say everything will be better. Just smile more and things will be better. And here's a cup of tea, things will be better. It's not me. That's not who I am. I'm more of the type of, yeah, that really sucks. Yeah, that really hurts. Let's dig through that a little bit, and let's see what happens. Let's see how you can rise from that. And I always put you back, not in the victim position, but in an empowerment position, so that you can choose for yourself what you want to do from this point. And you cannot see the way forward when you're in a state of panic or anxiety, because you're not thinking straight. When you are in a state of panic and anxiety, all of that energy, and even your intuitive energy, is all at the back of your skull in that survival energy. So it's fight or flight, it's fear, it's all of those energies. So everything that you can project into the future is all based from the fear. It's not based on your true intuition. It's not anything from your prefrontal cortex. It's not your true intelligence either. It's your survival instincts. So you need to calm down those survival instincts. Be calm, be centered through the pain, even if it's scary as hell. Face the fear, and then rise again. I hope that makes sense. That's the way I work. That's the way I work with my clients, to help you sit in the darkness, not be afraid of the darkness, find your bearings from your other senses that are they are going to open up for you. New intuition pathways are going to open up for you if you can just give yourself the margin, the grace to sit in the darkness, to be with the pain, to truly feel all of that, not intellectualize it. Stop questioning everything, but just be with it, and then you'll find your way forward. So that's the message of the day. That's the message of that little fairy stuck in the cave. Be still, my love, and that's how you'll find the way. And I can sit still with you. And together, we'll grow, learn, transform. All my love, big hugs from my heart to yours.